It was not. It was like
Some of them are kind of under the dash.
no. It was on the dash, and I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be under the dash, and it wasn't. And so I was like, I don't think it has to go on purpose. And he was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like,
Did I ever tell you about the time my dad got pulled over on base?
"Okay, right." But also, the kid was like 17, so I felt like
This is when he was active duty. When he was chief of staff of SAC. And he got pulled over, and the nice young MP said, "Sir, may I see your license?" My father said, "Sure," and held it up to him, and he went, "Okay, so you see, sir, you were going a little fast around the runway, sir, and so could you please maybe just slow down? Thank you, bye." His license back. My dad thought it was funny.
I did not think it was funny.
Of course you did. Wait, you got pulled over?
Yeah.
Another human being.
I have never thought it was funny when I've gotten any of my proceedings. In fact, I cried.
Good Lord. But like I said,
Okay, I'm going to read through this, and then we're going to pick up where we left off. And if we have extra time, which if you guys keep talking, we won't. Thank you. I'll give you a choice of which Terry Cole Whitaker video you would like to see. So here's the passage. Jesus said, "For judgment I came into the world, that those who do not see may see, and those who see may become blind." Some of the Pharisees near him heard these things and said to him, "Are we also blind?" Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would have no guilt. But now that you say we see, your guilt remains. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfold by the door, but climbs in by another way, that man is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the gatekeeper opens. The sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. A stranger they will not follow, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. This figure of speech Jesus used with them, but they did not understand what he was saying to them. So Jesus again said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. For I am the door. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. He who is a hired hand and not a shepherd, who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. He flees because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up again. This charge I received from my Father." There was again a division among the Jews because of these words. Many of them said, "He has a demon and is insane. Why listen to him?" Others said, "These are not the words of one who is oppressed by a demon. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind?" So we talked about blind sinners, those who can't see or know the truth. And then we talked about thieves and robbers, which is anyone who would lead others astray, spiritually speaking. And so anyone that comes from another way than Jesus is a thief or a robber. We talked about sheepfolds, some sheep videos. So a thief is one who breaks in the house to steal and enters by another way. We applied that to a number of different world religions. And the true sheep hear his voice, and they won't listen to another voice. And when they hear another voice, when they hear a false voice, they will know it, and they won't follow a stranger. Hired hand, of course, is someone who is paid to take care of the sheep. They're not his sheep. He doesn't care for them the way Jesus does or the way the shepherd does. So they were people that were paid to watch the sheep. So their chief concern was their personal gain, not the welfare of the sheep. And now we're on this part of the true shepherd. I am the good shepherd, and I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also, that they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. For this reason, the Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up again. This charge I have received from my Father. So quite clearly here, Jesus is saying that he is the true shepherd, who is known by his sheep. And those sheep are truly his. And he is the only shepherd. There is not another shepherd. There's no other shepherd that is that can do what Jesus has done. So his sheep, it would have been readily understood that his sheep were the people of Israel, the Jews. But he then says, I have other sheep. Who are they? The Gentiles. That idea might have been the most offensive thing that he said to the Jews. They were God's children. Gentiles were not God's children. Only the Jews were God's children. And so for Jesus to say, I have other sheep that are not of this, that are not Jews, and they're going to come to me as well, that would have been incredibly offensive to any Jew. That God loves the Jews, they realized that. And it's true. But to say, for God so loved the world, God loves the Jews. And Jesus is clearly saying here, not only is he going to bring Gentiles, and by the way, a Gentile is anyone who is not a Jew is a Gentile. And so he's going to bring Gentiles into his fold. And then he says these words, where he says, for this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. So what does he mean when he says, I lay down my life? What's he referring to? The cross, right? That he will die on the cross for his sheep. That's the context of this passage, right? He will die for his sheep. What does it mean when he says, I'll take it up again? His resurrection. So Jesus here is prophesying, is predicting his death, his sacrificial death, and his resurrection before it happens. Now, does this sound like someone who's like, well, I guess I gotta do this? No. He says, listen, I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me. For centuries, the Jews have been vilified as Christ killers. Now, was he sentenced by the Jews for death? Sort of. He was in Jewish court. But the Romans. But here's the thing. That's not the point. Jesus doesn't say they killed me. He says, I laid my life down. He knew this was going to happen. He walked right into it. And he was laying his life down. No one took his life from him. And he says, I'll take it back again. Now, they didn't understand it then when he said it, but they looked back and they went, oh, a lot of things Jesus said. That's what he said. And so, of course, he'll willingly give his own life, and he will rise from the dead. So he predicts his own death. His life is offered, not taken. Um, and then I would add to that on your notes to say, and then he predicted he would rise from the dead as well, because I think that's equally as important. Because he died for our sins, but he rose so that we might have eternal life. So even in the church, sometimes, there's even a term for it, celebrity pastors. That's an oxymoron. Because celebrate is a celebrity pastor. You're celebrating the pastor by the very name celebrity pastor. Now, I'm not saying they're all false. I'm just saying that that a shepherd would not draw attention to himself. And it seems to me that in some cases people are following that pastor, which is why it becomes so dangerous and so uh, awful for a church when a pastor falls from grace. And it happens frequently that pastors get caught in sin, and all these thousands of people have been following. In the 90s, I think it was, like a slew of them, just one right after the other, were caught in awful sin and living in excess. And I'm not going to say that I know the hearts and minds of those famous pastors. What I do know is if much is being made of them instead of much being made of Jesus, it's out of whack. We don't follow any human. I sit under the teaching of Jeff Dart, but I don't follow. I love him. I trust him. His wife is a dear, dear friend. But I don't follow Jeff Dart. I sit under his and so we don't follow any human being. Jesus is our shepherd. Jesus is our leader. And he did what no other human being has ever done. There's nobody that has ever lived or is living now that can say the things that Jesus said. I lay down my life and I will take it up again. Nobody has said that. Nobody can say that. Not Buddha, not Muhammad, not any of the great religious leaders of all time. You know the difference between all of those leaders and Jesus? You can visit their graves. They all died. Jesus died. He's not dead anymore. All of them are still dead. And so Jesus alone deserves our praise. And Jesus alone can save. Jesus did what no one has ever done. And he did it. He suffered all of it for you and for me. And I can't look at that and just walk away and say nothing to say. We'll talk about what Jesus said. And my prayer is, it'll change my life, as it already has. So that's the end of this lecture. I've got the quiz for you. And you'll probably finish that before the end of the hour. So if you want to watch a little more Terry Coldwood